Good evening and welcome to this intervention program to combat cyberbullying among adolescents. I'm your host, Josh Baker, and I'm going to attempt to explain how cyberbullying, how important it is, and that it has a pretty tremendous impact on the lives of the young and even the young adults, not necessarily just the young. And it's something that a lot of people from the previous generation don't quite understand when you come from a time, when you grew up in a time before the internet, when you grew up in a time before cyberbullying was really a thing, and you dealt with bullies, and mom and dad's advice of, well, just punch them in the nose, or, kick them in their vulnerable spot and then they'll leave you alone. You can't really do that with cyberbullying. Now, cyberbullying it's the use of technology to intimidate, harass, or harm other people repeatedly. You can send somebody a mean text or a mean message, and that doesn't count as cyberbullying. It's the constant ongoing harassment where you're intentionally maliciously attacking someone. And our children are particularly vulnerable to it. A lot of children as young as 7 and 8 years old, they have phones, they have online messaging. Some of them even have, Facebook and whatnot, and they will interact with people in chat groups, the big chat room where everybody's texting at once and responding to messages. I mean, that can be a big deal for young people. And a lot of the struggle comes from because the virtual world it's the place where a lot of the youth, that's where they get their social interaction. That's where they play their video games. That's where they run into their friends. That's where they interact with people on a regular basis, because there's something to be said for the safety of being behind the keyboard, the physical safety. You can sass somebody really hard and not get punched in the nose. You can a lot of times they reference the keyboard warriors or the social soldiers, where people will say and do things behind the safety of a computer screen or a phone screen that they would never do in person. So things like online harassment, that's, texting somebody mean things, messaging someone online. Online harassment can also be things like posting photoshopped images to make someone look bad, or make someone embarrassed or in a compromised situation. And then they're spreading rumors saying, oh, did you hear? I heard that so and so was, and all you have to do is tell 2 or 3 people this thing, and then they will start spreading the rumor. And I personally have been the topic of some rumors, and by the time it got around to me, I was legitimately interested. I was like, oh, really? What did I do next? Like, that just sounds, wow, I have no idea I was like that. Tell me more. What else did you hear? But a lot of young people do not have that. They don't have that wherewithal, that self-assurance, that understanding of who they are. Their self-respect is at a point where the opinions and things that other people say and do about them are deeply impactful. Impersonation, it can be, hacking someone's account or logging on as them and then posting things that they would not post. And then the last one, the social exclusion, is, okay, you're not part of the in crowd. We're going to have this chat group that, only the cool kids, can join, or, the people we want to have join. And then we'll tell jokes and we'll share funny pictures. And if you're, the one person in the group that is not in, not getting to see the pictures, not getting to see all the funny chats, well, then you're automatically on the outside, and you don't even know how you got there. It is very important to address cyberbullying and the serious and real negative impacts that it has on people. There's the mental health impact. It can have severe negative effects on mental health and well-being. It can lead to dramatically increased levels of stress and anxiety, even depression and feelings of loneliness and isolation. And people do pretty dramatic things when they're feeling isolated and lonely. They make horrible life choices. There's emotional distress. They can experience a lot of distress that can manifest in things like a lack of interest in their academics, just a feeling of low self-esteem and anxiety, and a decline in overall life satisfaction. They're just not having fun. And that's something that young people really shouldn't, the cry is to let kids be kids, but a lot of times parents they don't understand cyberbullying because there wasn't really a thing when they were young, and trying to do battle with something you don't understand or aren't familiar with, a lot of times adults will tend to take things not as seriously as they actually are, just because they're not something that they personally struggled with as a kid. There are long-term consequences of cyberbullying. It can extend well beyond adolescence. It can contribute to the development of mental health disorders, and it already increases the risk of self-harm and suicidal ideation. And like one of the things that is, I was very surprised while interacting with people online, young people online, they will regularly put up KYS, kill yourself. And that's just like, they'll just throw that out there. Like they'll just tell someone to go kill themselves, just almost like, well, go fly a kite from back in my generation, or, sawed off, or, just, I don't want to deal with you. Instead of saying, go away, I don't like you, they say, kill yourself. I'm like, that is so just, wow. The lack of empathy that it takes to throw that out there is just, it's beyond belief. I mentioned the academic decline. Just when you're constantly feeling like you're rejected or you're on the outside, it's very difficult for students to concentrate. Even engaging in school-related activities, when you're around a bunch of people that have been constantly bad-mouthing you, it makes you not even want to go. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to apply themselves. And that has a negative impact on the educational outcomes. And the being socially isolated, it just being outside the group. You're with a group of friends and you're the one person that isn't getting any of the inside jokes. It makes it very difficult for them to make friends because it's almost like, we are excluding them, and any attempt they have to make additional relationships can be sabotaged by the people doing the bullying. It's very easy online to basically be like, oh, don't talk to them. The goals of the program are to raise awareness about cyberbullying and its impact, as well as empowering adolescents, young people with the knowledge and skills to prevent and respond to cyberbullying, just to recognize it really when it happens, and to either address it themselves or immediately bring it to the attention of a grown person, or somebody that can do something about it, as well as foster empathy in them, because a cyber bully can easily turn into the bullier if they don't really understand why it's wrong and how to have respect for other people and make sure that they're not the one doing it. The components of the program would be education and awareness, providing information and the definition and the consequences of cyberbullying, as well as the legal and ethical implications. I feel like information is always key for letting people make informed choices. I've always said play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but a lot of times people they play stupid games out of ignorance. They just don't know. No one has told them. And once someone tells them, well, then they can make educated choices, and then if they still want to play stupid games, well, then they deserve their stupid prizes. As well as skill building, offering workshops and activities to develop skills like empathy, communication, digital citizenship, which is basically being part of an online community and conflict resolution. Digital literacy, teaching adolescents how to navigate social media safely, protect their online identity, and recognize and report cyberbullying incidents. Support systems, establishing counseling services and peer support groups to provide emotional support to victims and create a safe space for open dialogue to talk about cyberbullying. As well as, I've mentioned multiple times, collaboration with the parents and the schools to make sure that parents and educators understand what's going on and to create a supportive environment promoting responsible online behavior. You can do that with integration into the school curriculum, collaborating with schools to incorporate cyberbullying prevention education into the curriculum. They do fire drills. I think schools now do active shooter drills. Why not have classes on cyberbullying and how to deal with it? Student-led initiatives encourage students to take leadership roles in organizing awareness campaigns and promoting a positive online culture, and partnerships with community organizations, working with local organizations to provide resources, expertise, and support in the intervention program, and also online platforms, because social media reaches a huge audience and it provides accessible resources for adolescents and parents that they may only want to seek out anonymously, because that's a big deal. They don't want other people to know they're suffering. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. If you do have questions, we do interact regularly on a weekly basis on the message boards. And have a wonderful week.